What do you want women to think and feel more of?
I want them to think and feel more at home in their own bodies and brains and hearts and souls. I want them to know that ultimately they are just as they are right now. Like, I want women to trust themselves. I just think, wow, I love how my brain works.
Yeah.
I love that I've got the perfect brain for my job. Almost like the male gaze is gone. And so that sense of being invisible, I'm having so much fun getting dressed. I feel fantastic in these clothes.
Yeah.
Now, honestly, getting older is great. And I'm just 100% fascinated with death right now because I feel like embracing my own mortality in an optimistic way. The answer I seek isn't outside me. It's not in the future. It's here today, right now. It's within me.
Welcome to Mind You. I'm Charlotte Cummings. For more than 20 years, I've been helping people make sense of the patterns shaping their lives. Why we keep having the same arguments, making the same choices, or feeling stuck even when we know better. If your life looks like it's working from the outside but doesn't always feel that way on the inside, you're in the right place. Here we talk about relationships, identity, work, parenting, and all the messy parts of being human. Looking at what's really going on beneath the surface. Because when you understand your patterns, changing them becomes possible. I'm really glad you're here. Let's get into it. Well, this is an absolutely delightful episode with Petra Bagust. It is a real pleasure to sit down and talk with Petra and put her in the hot seat. She is a podcaster who gets to have amazing conversations with other people. And I listen to those podcasts on Grey Areas and Sunday Sanctuary and often think, I really wish someone was interviewing Petra. So I took that opportunity today to sit down and talk about what's great about midlife. And honestly, this is just the best ad for the season to come. For those of us who are perhaps in our 40s, it is a really great inspiration around what is amazing about the next season of our lives. I hope you enjoy it. I have had such a delightful time thinking about how I introduce you today and how I introduce this time we have together in conversation.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I've told you this before, but I grew up with Petra's style guide.
I remember it because I had to write it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that came out when I was 13.
Wow.
And so perfect time. And here it was talking about relationships and talking about bodies and all sorts of stuff. And then I was reflecting thinking, this is really cool that Petra's always been a step ahead in life. And here we are, another couple of decades on. And so much of what you talk about and share about now is informing the stage that I'm entering.
It's lovely having people further down the path, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think also with humility, I am preaching what I most need to hear.
Yeah.
So I really think I'm talking about stuff that I need.
Yeah. But I was having a cup of tea with a mum friend and we're talking about what's on this week.
Yeah.
And I said I was sitting down with you and she was the first person that I saw and I went, yeah, I can be like that. How good is that?
That is so good.
And I know that lands for you just as a privilege.
It does.
Yeah.
No, that's so good.
Yeah.
I want women to have the freedom to choose how they mature, how they age, how they think, how they act. I want them to know they can trust themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good thing because that's what I'm practicing. I'm practicing trusting myself.
Yeah.
And it's not a linear journey, It's not like every day and every word, trust myself. But it is like, can I choose to be myself today?
Yeah.
Can I show up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have a familiarity with each other, enough for me to know quite how many clothing outfit options you take away for a couple of nights for something. So we've done a wee bit of stuff before and we can enter this conversation familiar today.
We can, and I can travel overseas just with hand luggage, and I can take the whole wardrobe. I can. It's freedom, making all the decisions before you leave.
Yeah.
But when I'm working, my husband will say to me, take the big suitcase. I'm like, why? He goes, I would not travel without a piece of equipment I needed. So if you need another outfit, or if you haven't decided, or you need to know you've got your own hairdryer, take your equipment. He's very he's very take everything you need.
Oh.
Yeah, you've got 23.9 kgs, spend it.
Wow. So good. I love that. And I love that you've done a snort laugh already.
I know.
I think that it is a real privilege to sit with you today because I listen to Sunday Sanctuary and Grey Areas. And so often I think, I know that Petra's here as the interviewer, but I want to hear more from her. And I wonder if this is an opportunity to have a how's Petra conversation, what's happening. And you do interviews, you're not, shy of sharing bits and pieces, but this is a long form opportunity to sit down and talk about life in the stage and some of the things that are features of life for you right now. So
Nice.
yay.
It's very lovely. It's a privilege.
Yeah.
And you've caught me on the back end of a big week. I hosted, I think, my first memorial service. My Uncle Roger passed away about 6 weeks ago now. And so, Mum, Dad, me, my husband and I went to Taupo and hosted a memorial service. And I think I've figured out I'm tired. But look, I look good. I put
You're doing it.
my face on and I feel good.
Do you choose clothes based on how you're feeling?
100%. Yeah. Actually, what I do now is I get dressed, and if I don't feel great, I just go, this is not bringing me any joy or any life.
Yeah.
I'll just change it.
Yeah. How extensive is the wardrobe at any given time?
I have kept almost everything I ever got, given I had sponsored wardrobes when I was on telly. 10 and 20 years ago. So I've got an archive wardrobe in the attic that my daughter now shops at. She has her own personal op shop and she gets all the outfits for free. Heaps of the things I don't fit anymore because I'm in a different stage and phase, and that's okay. But every now and then I'll go up and I'll be like, ooh. So I do rotate.
Yeah.
And I'll be in a dress season or I'll be in a skirt season. I'm in a pants season at the moment. Actually, to be honest, until it got cold, I was in a short season. I am wearing so many shorts.
Yeah.
I'm in clots. I'm just loving shorts. Yeah, I'm having more fun getting dressed as a mid-50s, in my mid-50s.
Cool.
Early to mid-50s.
Cool.
Than I ever have in my life.
How amazing.
Yeah, it's personal expression is so much fun.
I think we can tell.
I know. And I don't always wear pink. Yeah. I'm loving blues and greens.
Yeah.
I'm loving lilac. So anyway, I love colour though. I love colour.
Exciting. I think one of the things I've heard you say, though, about having ADHD is sometimes it prevents you from taking things to the op shop that are due to go to the op shop. And I wonder if that now benefits your daughter.
It probably does. I have a bulging bag to go to the op shop, but then I delayed it by washing all of the clothes just to make sure they weren't fusty or musty smelling. Oh. And now they're still sitting there. I accidentally put a pair of my dad's wool pants at the top of that pile, and then somebody went looking for them. And I'm like, I think I now know what those wool pants are. So sometimes a delay is good. Yeah. I'm really hoping that we have an op shop at work now downstairs, so that's helped. That's helped to speed up the process because I can be efficient, in inverted commas, and I can drop off the thing on my way to work or in my morning tea break.
Yeah, so good.
So good.
Yeah. So one of the things I really want to talk to you about today is what it is like now, a period of time along from having that ADHD diagnosis. I remember the video, the sitting in your car video of this has just happened. Yeah. This kind of junction is here where I now have this way of understanding myself and this opportunity to understand myself differently. Can you talk to us about how that journey has kind of progressed over time?
Yeah. The journey, for anybody who's intersected with those episodes of grey areas, came out of our sons at first saying, no, I'm all good. And then in his last year of high school saying, maybe I'd like to talk to someone about this. And we got a formal diagnosis for him. And it was a pretty profound process because it was an expert telling our son how okay he was and how he was more than okay. And so it's almost, I think it's quite emotional, that sense of being seen and understood by somebody outside of your family who has to kind of like or love you. And I think it was a bit of a healing process. Plus, in the end, he had supportive medication to be able to focus and achieve what he wants to in a day. And for myself, I started to, Anika Moa kicked it off by saying, you aren't, are you? And I'm like, no, I don't think so. I had never thought about it for myself. After that time and with the journey of our son, I started listening to podcasts and started the grieving process of, all the theories that I'd created to try and make myself make sense, all the times when I didn't think I fitted in, belonged, all the times when I'd been berating myself or just really asking questions about how I was in the world. So there was this, I remember walking around the suburb and grieving. So to get the formal diagnosis was in effect to legitimise me talking about it in the public square.
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't know that I would have necessarily done it and got a diagnosis if I hadn't been wanting to share this discovery. And at the moment of getting the diagnosis, I was like, what if she's got it wrong? I really doubted the diagnosis as soon as I got it. I was like, what's going on, brain? Like, what are you doing now? What are you protecting yourself from? And I remember taking a deep breath before releasing that episode. And I recognized that my experience of ADHD is one person's experience of ADHD, that there are elements that are repeated, but that everybody's journey is unique. The profound result of that has been hearing other people start their journey or make the discovery and come home to their own brains. And for me, it's been this quite palpable increase in peace. So I am allowing myself to be me in a way that is so much more streamlined. Like there's just less energy and effort and angst in questioning myself in when I find something hard, I'm like, this makes sense. Hey babe, this makes sense. You hate going to the post office or it's okay. And it's even recognizing and being allowed to understand how fast I like to move and how fantastic that is in so many circumstances. I can also reconcile with the fact that it's not always fantastic and it's not always helpful. Sometimes it's harmful. Either to myself, I've shut my arms in doors, I've jammed my own leg in a car door, leaving a car door. I've hurt myself being super frustrated and pulling or yanking things. I've ripped clothes, I've spilt drinks. I've created messes as I am furiously tidying up and then gone into the spiral of like, like when you are moving so fast that you are creating more work than you are resolving, that's a sign. But it's not really a sign unless you can almost understand the origin of it. I understand that this is a speed my brain wants to work at. And I understand the idea that being faster would always be better, but it isn't. And now I can almost, it's like I can step back from myself. And I think this is the incredible power we have as conscious human beings to be able to step almost outside of myself and go, hey, you know that mantra you love, slow is smooth, smooth is fast? Let's do that. Because ultimately it will be faster to slow down. And I would never have considered slowing down as a way to be faster before. So I can input my brain with external wisdom that I think I was just in the cycle. I was in the cycle of what I call manic and panic. And not all the time, but I would tip into manic and panic and I would just start going for it. I'm just like grabbing things and doing things and I'm
The hurricane.
I'm the hurricane and I'm kicking the cupboard doors shut and I'm wiping the thing while I'm grabbing the thing and then say something smashes or breaks or bursts or tips. I'm furious with myself. But now I'm like, okay, so if I'm slow as smooth, smooth as fast, I'm still get to be fast, just in a different route. So I love that about it. I love that. And I'm still allowed to be loud. But I don't have to always be loud. Like it's allowed me to not take my manic and panic and mess with other people's peace, not take my joy bean loudness and mess with other people's quiet.
Wow.
I feel like I can give myself permission to be Petra with all the kind of beautiful chaos and colourful, action that is. And I can also turn the volume up and down. And it's okay to turn the volume down. I can do that thinking about somebody else. It's good. And I can turn it up thinking about myself.
There are so many women who are sitting with this. Do I really need the diagnosis? I hear this all the time in a counseling space.
Mhm.
And I think one of the balances that I need to hold is this real respect for where people are at.
Yeah.
And actually, it's okay wherever you land on this if you don't want to pursue this for yourself. But I hear as well, I guess, a little bit of a pattern because I can add up the number of people that I work with and kind of
Mhm.
go, actually, this is coming through as a theme here. And
Mm.
this is also now kind of interesting as a theme. As so many women are saying, well, maybe I could just treat myself as if I am someone who has ADHD, but I won't pursue that kind of moment of going through a process of assessment and diagnosis.
Mhm.
What I observe then is that over time they then go, actually, I think I want the moment.
Wow. Isn't that amazing?
Mm.
That's so fantastic.
Mm.
Because what I hear you say as they come home to how they might be,
Mm.
they come home to who they are.
Yeah.
And I love that
Yeah.
because the diagnosis doesn't give you ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
The diagnosis doesn't give you
Mm-hmm.
a different brain working
Mm-hmm.
differently. There is something about external validation.
Yeah.
There is something about legitimization. I don't think every day I've got ADHD. I just think, wow, I love how my brain works.
Yeah.
I love that I've got the perfect brain for my job.
Yeah.
I love that I'm good at this. Okay, I'm not good at this.
Mm.
What's the scaffolding I need?
Mm.
What's the support I need? How can I?
Mm.
And I now ask for help for things that I know I'm not good at, but I ask for it with the acknowledgement. Like
Mhm.
I feel like I ask for it more respectfully or more. How would you even say that?
Mm.
I can ask for support specifically rather than just flailing and just needing support and just
Yeah.
like rather than I'm not looking to be rescued,
Mhm.
but I am looking for targeted
Yeah.
input or support.
Yeah.
And that I think is a lesser load
Mhm.
on the people I live with now than when I didn't understand myself, didn't know how my brain
Yeah.
performed and underperformed.
Yeah.
So I feel a lot happier about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think I have heard you say that you now have a deep well of self-compassion that you
Yeah.
can draw from.
You do. And the good thing about that is that you can draw from that well for yourself or for someone else.
Yeah.
But
Amazing.
more than one person can drink at a well like that.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
Uh, I've long held the belief that it's hard to give away what you don't have.
Mm.
And that if you don't have something,
Mm.
how do you how do you share
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
And when I was holding myself to what I perceived to be exhaustingly high standards,
Mm.
I'm not saying I'm free of that entirely,
Mhm.
but the conversation I had with Dr. Greg Finucane,
Mm.
which is the bonus episode of Grey Areas, where he said, that a lot of people he's met, I think particularly women who are high functioning, hold themselves to exhaustingly high standards. They have
Mm.
got themselves on a very tight leash
Mm.
and they're holding themselves on this tight leash
Mm.
with the aim of not letting things
Mm.
badly muck up.
Yeah.
It's like, unless I've got myself on this really short leash,
Yeah. It's all
things
gonna
could
go
just
bad.
go bad.
Yeah.
And while that might only be partly true,
Mhm.
there's an element of truth in that.
Yeah.
Things could really go bad.
Yeah.
I will behave entirely without thinking at times. I remember
Mm.
as a young person, somebody threw a smoking cigarette butt on the pub table
Mhm.
where me and my friends were, and I just tossed it behind me.
Mm.
I had no thought of where it might land next and the fact that
Mm.
it was still burning. It was funny and I threw it. It was thrown and I threw it. So it's a small example of in that moment, I know that I will engage in risky behavior.
Mhm.
And how can I engage in appropriate risky behavior unless I know
Yeah.
I'm engaging in risky
Yeah.
behavior? So the way I
Mm.
used to cross the street, I would run when I went running. I would cross the street very close to moving traffic, and it wasn't until quite a while later that I realised makes me feel alive.
Mm.
The issue is if I get that wrong, it could make me feel dead.
Yeah.
And my husband saw me doing that and he said,
Yeah.
I'm distressed in
It's not
essence.
okay.
It's not okay. And I'm like, what's wrong with
Mm.
you? Like, why can't you just, I'm
Mm.
just crossing the road, And now I'm like, oh,
Mm.
I'm looking for something that might be good. I'm looking to feel alive, but
Mm.
in a way that is causing harm or distress to somebody else and could cause harm or distress to myself.
Yeah.
So I remember during the diagnosis, well, I wanted to be referred to somebody who would diagnose the ADHD if it was present in my life. And the doctor said, "Are you addicted? You know, do you have any drug or alcohol addiction?" And I said, "No." And then she circled around and she just asked me again.
Mm.
And I was like, "No, I don't." And I really do think my childhood faith had a massive part to play in that I, was never encouraged to experiment with drugs and alcohol.
Mhm.
I was also in a faith community where in terms of an attachment to and a relationship with a loving creator of the universe,
Mm.
you know, there was an element of me that was never alone. I was never
Mm.
having to do it all by myself.
Yeah.
It's not to say I never felt
Yeah.
lonely or alone,
Yeah.
but there was a feeling that I didn't have to carry the heavy stuff forever
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah.
So I really think, like looking back, I think, oh, you know, I can see that I got addicted to hot drinks. Like I am like a hot drink addict. The fact that I'm here now without one is insanity. If you had have said yes, I would have like if anybody comes to our house and says, "Would you like a cup of tea?" I will have a cup of tea with them or an anything with
Yeah.
them. And if I ever have to do any kind of work or any hard thing, I'm like, I'll just make myself a hot, you know, like
it's punctuation.
it's like,
It's
yeah, it's
fuel.
like,
It's all
what
the
do I
things.
need? I need a hot drink.
Yeah.
But how fortunate for me.
Yeah. It's a
That's
sensory thing as well, too. Hot.
Yeah, warm, comforting,
Yeah.
tasty, delicious.
Are you quite a sensory person?
I think so.
Yeah.
I like walking and touching the leaves
Yeah.
of hedges or flowers, or I like to experience. Yeah, I like to experience fire, you know, touch and smell. And I think I'll be eating dinner and everybody's like going, yeah. And I'll be like, this is delicious.
Exploding in my mouth.
Wow. I'm not even a super taster, but I'm like, isn't that? And then I'm like, am I just too much? Like, am I just a lot? Because I'm like being wowed by the world all the time.
What an amazing metaphor, though, of like we're all eating the same food and yet it's landing for me like so amazing.
Wow.
The richness, the depth, the spice, the sweet, the whatever it is.
As I said to my husband today, that was an excellent combination of flavors, wasn't it? After breakfast.
Oh.
I'm just like, that breakfast just
What was
landed.
it?
Well, we
Porridge.
I'm returning with love to porridge. I'll have you know. Man, I make a mean porridge. And then you sprinkle a layer of cinnamon on, and then you do seeds, and then there are nuts, and then you want some yogurt, and and then you want some crunchy fruit. Anyway, no, this was eggs, cottage cheese, spinach, rocket tomatoes, and avocado.
Yeah.
So
I like that for you. I think, all brains have pros and cons.
Yeah.
Is one of the things that I often talk with people about is that all of our brains are different. And actually we need to recognize that even a neurotypical brain is going to have pros and cons in the same way that, you're perhaps not as present to those sensory things or those flavors. And, you could extend that out into thinking about lots of different things in life. So there are, pluses and minuses to all different kinds of brains.
And imagine having a brain where every meal didn't have to be fantastic and it was just absolutely A-okay for a meal to be okay.
Yeah.
Like that would be good too.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that dinner I cooked was, dear, I should have crispied that thing up. All right. I'm like bemoaning and Hamish is like, yeah, well, it was a good dinner. I like
that.
I like it. I'm like,
love that for you. Tell me though, you're one of the people who gets to move through the world giving compassion to others and inspiring their own self-compassion. Tell me what that's like and the different roles you play as a chaplain and connecting with people even through all the events and different ways that you meet people. You've become this person who has compassion to give away or to inspire in others.
Yeah. Such a good question. I feel like naturally, I think I've always felt I had a lot of love to give. That's just the phrase I'd say. I've got a lot of love to give. I feel like I've got pool of love inside of me and I can draw on it. The addition of self-compassion, which has turned into compassion more broadly, is having this window into radical acceptance and what radical acceptance might look and feel and sound like. And I know that if I've got friends who I have disappointed recently, or I haven't kept in touch with them, or I feel like I've let them down, or any of those things where you're on the back foot, that what that does is it's like it just wants to tip me into a prone position where I'm lying on the ground and I don't have the energy to even get up and try again. So I've understood that to feel like I'm failing, disappointing people and letting them down is immensely demotivating. And to feel like I am loved and accepted as I am, to feel like I'm understood, or just like it's okay. I feel that's such an energizing position to start from. So if I am accepted for who I am, flaws and all, then I'm like, well, I can give it another go.
Yeah.
I can go again. I could try again. I could do that differently. I'm so happy to hear what your need of me is, or how you'd like me to show up in your world. I actually want to show up for you.
Yeah.
You're my friend and I care about you.
Yeah.
And I'm not always going to do that. I love it. Counsellor once said to me, we love clumsily. And that's such a useful phrase for me. When people don't show up for me and when I don't show up for others, we love clumsily.
Yeah.
We're loving.
Yeah.
We're doing it in a really human way, right?
Yeah.
And getting it wrong. So this concept that I could receive and give radical acceptance, which I would call compassion, then when somebody doesn't show up on time, or forgets an interview, or doesn't reply to my email, or doesn't show up in the way that I love them to, it's harder with one of my children.
Yeah.
I sometimes walk around the house thinking you're sucking my will to live.
Yeah.
But then I have to go, what's that in me? What is it that I need from them that they can't give me? They can't give it to me. Is it something that I'm already sick of in myself? Like if I do a certain thing badly and somebody else does that to me badly, I'm like, honey child, I am already over this.
Yeah, projection.
So it's projection.
Yeah.
But this idea of being able to accept people where they are, for me, stems from the decision to, and my belief that people are doing the best they can with what they've got.
Yeah.
Like everybody's trying their hardest.
Yeah.
And I don't care if someone isn't. It doesn't make any difference to me, because I believe wholeheartedly that most people are doing the best with what they've got.
Yeah.
And they may have a high level of self-awareness or no self-awareness. So I'm not going to ask somebody who has no self-awareness about how their words and actions impact people to be more aware.
To act differently.
To act differently. Now, would I love them to go on a journey? Yeah, I'd love that for them. That would be amazing. And that would probably impact well on their whole community.
Yeah.
But if you can love and accept people for where they're at, isn't that like a motivating start point? Did that answer the question?
And maybe something that the world needs more of.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And look, it's challenging when you meet people you don't like. Like, I challenge myself with like the idea of loving your enemy. Like, what does that mean? What does that really look and feel and sound like if I engage with people who think and behave really differently to how I want them to think and behave?
Absolutely.
So yeah.
On a macro level, you're using your voice to shape how women in New Zealand are thinking and feeling about themselves and their lives. What do you want women to think and feel more of?
I want them to think and feel more at home in their own bodies and brains and hearts and souls. I want them to know that ultimately they are awesome just as they are right now. Like, I want women to trust themselves. I want them to turn with compassion towards their own brain, their own body, their own heart, and be like, oh yeah, this is me. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, this works. I love this about me. Oh yeah, this is good. Oh, this is hard. Oh, I need to grieve this. This is loss. Like this season is gone, or this season has ended.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say thanks and goodbye. I'm gonna recondo that season. But I ultimately want women to trust themselves and to pick up the pen, like to pick up their own head, heart pen and write the script for their next season. Now that you think about how many genres they are. You can write whatever you want, but write it knowing that they've got some agency.
Yeah. I've been talking to women so often in counselling about this lately. Like, what is the future that you want
Yeah.
for yourself?
Mm.
And in counselling speak, we talk about the concept of preferred futures.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Nice.
what is it
Mhm.
that is going to happen if you keep tracking the way that you are?
Okay.
If nothing changes, how are you in 10 or 20 years and what is your life like? And then what actually is your preferred future? What is it that you want for yourself?
Mm.
And therefore, what is it that might need to shift now in order to get you to that place? So, this preferred futures I love for us.
It's such a wonderful framework because if you extrapolate out 20 years, the human imagination can do that.
Yeah.
It can extrapolate where you'll be.
Yeah.
And when you see, like you can do it again today
Mhm.
and you can do it again today.
Mhm.
But if you think about the next 20 years of doing it again and
Yeah.
you're in some sort of pain and or
Mm.
internal
Mm.
angst, to
Yeah.
do it again for another 20 years
Yeah.
becomes more of an unbearable feeling or an
Yeah.
intolerable feeling. And pain does galvanize action.
Mm.
Like pain is okay, it's a messenger.
Mm.
I think we've avoided pain, discomfort, difficulty,
Yeah.
inconvenience at our own peril. I
Yeah.
think we avoid those things at our peril
Mm.
because they're messages.
Except one of the fascinating things that I observe in women, that
Yeah.
women have an advantage over men, I think, is they can imagine future pain easier.
Ooh.
So there is this, actually, if you are confronted with those questions of how does life work out for you if you continue the way that you are,
Yeah.
they can go, crap, now I can imagine that and I don't like it. And okay, I can actually really place myself there.
Yes.
And it can lead to some really powerful changes now of going, oh, well, it's not like I never thought of that.
Yes.
But it's going, actually, I'm now confronted with that.
I have some clarity that I did not
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
or inhabit, and I'm
Mm.
inhabiting it now. Have you
Mm.
tried it with men?
Yes.
And?
Doesn't land so,
Oh,
so well.
wow.
I think, and because I do lots of relationship counselling, I
Yeah.
often see men leaving changes till the 11th hour,
Oh, ouch.
which is a pretty tough pattern that, the
Yeah.
pain of staying the same has to become greater than the pain
Of
of
changing.
changing, and then it tips. But for women, we do seem to have this advantage that I think we have to use more of we can actually imagine what the future might look like if we keep going.
And look, maybe it's biological advantage because we are
Mhm.
ultimately have been the keepers of the next generation.
Yeah.
Like we keep them alive. And so maybe an ability to adapt more quickly to a preferred outcome
Yeah.
is what helps us keep our children well.
Yeah.
or try to
Absolutely.
keep
You
our
can
children
totally
well.
understand
Yeah,
a biological reasoning
Yeah.
for it. Hey,
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Hey, that's fascinating.
Mm.
To the preferred future. I'm interested in your thoughts. I've met women who have had significant success in a role or a job that they've done. They've raised a family, and then they have this desire to change it up.
Mm.
But what they latch onto or what they start talking about is what appears to be a complete fantasy. It's like this. It's like taking a mild interest and turning it into another future or career.
Yeah.
And I'd be interested in your thoughts around that because I'm like, you're onto something,
Mm.
but what you've chosen is almost impossible. Like,
Yeah.
what is it about that? Is it a protection mechanism or is it? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think that there is a real escapism that women get used to going into because the demands of our lives keep us somewhat trapped. And I think any mother will have had days where you go, this is just not what I want to be doing today.
Yeah.
And yet I'm having to show up. And there are, sometimes lots of days like that.
Yeah.
And it can mean that people get into this kind of like escapism. They think wildly about the kind of the what ifs.
A completely alternate universe, them.
Yeah. A parallel universe. If life was different, it would look like I'd run away and I'd do this. It would look wildly different and include all these different people, and it would be unrecognizable from who I am now. And I think women don't easily go into that place of sort of strategic planning.
Okay.
So actually, what do I need to do? What is it that I want more of and how am I going to get there? And sometimes the escapism piece is easier. Like, what work do I need to do now to take me from here to there is a pretty
Much
hard
harder.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do, because I've seen it, not a lot, but sometimes, and I've thought, what about that is turning the dial? Like,
Yeah.
I'm really interested in taking our strengths
Mm.
or things that we are naturally gifted or good or interested in, good at or interested in, and starting to dial those up.
Yeah.
I think going from television to podcasting, there was a 10-year hiatus between that. That was not a switch.
Yeah.
That was not, and now I have an award-winning podcast.
Yeah.
That was, I will hone my MC skills. I will be an ambassador for the charities and organizations that I care about. I will follow this interest of languages and learn some te reo Māori. I will raise my family and I'll spend a lot of time on that season and that mahi, that role that is very important to me. And now I will try this. Like we tried a podcast and an episode never got released. I will try this. Oh no, that's not really working. I'm not really a parenting expert. I'm an expert communicator. I will. And so over the course of 10 years, I was taking actions and I was wondering about leaning into what I loved. I mean, I remember saying, well, I learn a language, do a creative writing course or an art course, something like that. And it wasn't that I was necessarily looking for a new career, but I was looking for action, some action to take. And taking action creates
It's
momentum.
iterative.
Yeah.
And you can pivot and keep pivoting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the podcast, and even then how media chaplaincy came out of that. I think that the acknowledgement that life is hard. It's really hard, and it throws curveballs at you, and we are in control of a little bit of it, and we are not in control of a lot of it. And so understanding that my brain will find the evidence for what I'm looking for. So if I'm looking for the good in other people, it will find it. If I'm looking for the opportunity in a scenario or looking for the learning in a scenario, I will find that.
Yeah.
And if I'm looking for evidence why everybody hates me, I will find that. You know, like if I'm looking why I'm a failure, I will find that. And I can spend a day where I feel like a real failure. So that if it's even possible to draw it back to that iterative thing, I loved being able to lean into or look at areas of interest.
Yeah.
Like these are things I'm interested in, and they didn't have to become my new career, but they could have become a pool in which I swam in that adds to my life.
Yeah.
And that was the case. I got better at emceeing. I did add some te reo Māori to my world, and it gave me a whole new view of the country we live in and how I am as a human being, and another lens through which to look at life, which was very additive.
Yeah.
So it's like, I haven't become a Māori teacher. I'm not a kaiako. I haven't become,
I love, though, that you're an amazing example of having a portfolio of different things.
Yeah.
And you and I have actually talked about that privately, that there are not that many examples of those people, or they're a little bit perhaps harder to access. And women a lot are getting out of these ideas around traditional jobs, or I have to do the same thing for 40 hours a week. And that idea that you can have different tabs open and different streams, different pools is something I think that is role modeled really well by you.
You're really kind. Hanging out with you is really lovely. It's really lovely. Come and live at my house. We did talk about this because I recognised that I hadn't got a job. When I left TVNZ's breakfast show, I never went and got myself a job. I'm suited psychologically to contract work.
Yeah.
I like not necessarily knowing what's happening next.
And dial that thing up because I loved it. Dial that thing down because I did it.
And I wondered how I lasted for 18 years at TV3. And it was because I hosted a whole lot of different shows. They were different genres.
Yeah.
It was travel. It was home renovation.
Yeah.
It was
I missed
food
the home
science.
renovation.
It was game show. It was all sorts of things. So I had multiple jobs within this umbrella. And I know there are big organizations where you can move around.
Yeah.
An organization that has hundreds of employees and have different roles, right? But you've got the solidity of a pay packet and continuity. So being an actual contractor where you contract and you try out different things. And I did say I said to him, what do I say? Like, what do I call myself? And she said, this lady said, I call it having a portfolio of activities.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're looking to legitimize how we are in the world when we don't fit a status quo.
Mm.
And so a portfolio of activities
Mm.
sounds a wee bit wanky, but it worked. And I love the fact that still I get to engage in media chaplaincy and hosting, keynote speaking, making podcasts. They're brother sister actions, right? But they have their own they have their own energy and their own direction.
I'm just going to briefly pause to thank the sponsor of today's episode, RK. I have really sensitive skin and I've been loving the RK skincare range, especially their bed balm, which has become part of my nightly routine. RK is crafted right here in New Zealand by skin therapist Renee Hohaya, who has more than 25 years of experience, using clinical grade ingredients to create skincare that's effective, uncomplicated, and feels beautiful on your skin. If you're looking to top up your skincare, head to rkskin.com and use the code MINDYOU for a generous 20% off your first order. The link's in the show notes too. And then there is the reality you've invented yourself again in the public eye with people watching.
Yeah.
And I think these days, like cost of living, crisis changes in the world, the kind of evolution of AI and all of that has meant that so many people more and more and more have the challenge of reinventing themselves. What's your advice into those chapters where you're not necessarily in a position of having the new things in the portfolio? What's your advice for people faced with that challenge of reinvention?
My warm, compassionate advice is take some time, like try some things out. Be curious. Like maybe start with curiosity and say, what's something I've been doing or done that interests me that I might hone, that I might get better at, that I might upskill in? What's something that I've always wanted to try and never had time to try that I could investigate? What's something that I need to let go of? What's something I need to say goodbye to? And I think that especially as women face the end of their child rearing years, that hands-on mother time, of course it morphs and you're always a mother if you're a mother. And that includes people who mother other people's children or who auntie other people's children. The role changes shape, it changes size, it changes textures. And I think that it can be and is a wonderfully good thing to grieve the end of a season.
Yeah.
I grieved not having a period anymore and I'm thrilled about it. I'm thrilled to be in menopause.
Yeah.
It has its own joys and challenges. And I also went, that's it, I will never reproduce. And I'd stopped reproducing years ago. But I was like, I say goodbye to that.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm allowed to grieve not being a television presenter anymore. I say goodbye to that. I'm allowed to grieve not being the mother of young children and not having all these people daily in my life and seeking my advice and care.
Yeah.
Like there's joy in that season being finished.
Yeah.
And there's sorrow. So I really think it's a wonderful thing to allow yourself to grieve the end of something, if it's a career or a job or a season that you've been in.
Yeah.
And also then to let go, like to put it down, take it off, let it go, and turn and go, okay, what's ahead?
Yeah.
And to look to the future with some sense of hope and curiosity. And I do think, try something new. Not everything is going to work out. So patience is a thing. And I think it's fine to think, in 2 years I'll be doing this. It took 10 years.
Yeah.
It took 10 years before grey areas came along after breakfast TV finished. And I did all sorts of interesting things in between, and I managed to earn a crust at times and hone some skills and try some things out and ditch some things and do some things. But it's like, hold the faith, like keep the faith, because you're keeping the faith in yourself.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing to keep faith in. And I do remember a conversation I had with a friend where I, let the little bit of fire in your belly be a sign as well. Like I had a chat with a friend walking around a hill and I said, these conversations are useful.
Mm.
More people need to hear them. Like, these are really good, chewy, crunchy convos. This korero is shareable.
Yeah.
And I hadn't conceived of a podcast, but I was like, I need to do, like, there was this little germ of a fire there. So whatever the germ of a fire is, like, I need to get my hands messy or use my beautiful brain like this or build this or, tear this down.
And then how cool that the things that we can contribute most to just often come out by accident. Like this podcast for me started because I was getting to a point of insanity at sending people the same voice notes.
Okay.
Someone would send me a question and say, oh, look, can you just give me a little bit of advice about this? And I would send them a 10-minute voice note answer. And then the next week, someone would send me the same question. And I went, I think that this is meant to be called a podcast. And here I am. And that kind of sense of like following the clues is so important, but also shutting down the things where you don't have energy, I think is so confronting for women who often have patterns around, I don't want to disappoint people, I don't want to let people down, I want to feel legitimate.
I don't want to be embarrassed, I don't want to be shamed, I don't want to muck up or duck up or any of the other ups. And look, I want to say that I went as an ambassador to Parenting Place and they tried to sell events where I would talk about parenting information. And Parenting Place never claimed to be the parenting expert. They claimed to have information from experts that they shared with everybody. And they would hire expert parent counsellors, but that their information was sourced from experts and communicated by good communicators. And it didn't work for me. They didn't sell. The events didn't sell. People didn't buy tickets to them. So I'm looking at the ticket sales and we got 25 people coming to this 250-person auditorium. And I didn't think, I am a failure, I am useless, I am hopeless, I am worthless. I thought, I probably wouldn't pay to hear me talk about parenting either. Because I know I'm a good communicator, but I'm not, that's not my area of expertise. And so I had to, I just think so often as women, we will, and humans, take things personally. Can we separate ourselves from the information? That the lack of sales was not a hatred of me. It wasn't a failure of me. It was a me in the wrong place. It was information. This is not what I'm supposed to do. This is not an effective deployment of my skills and talents or Parenting Place's resources. We've tried this a couple of times. Let's learn from that. Everybody calls it fail fast, but I like this is like if we can go, such and such just said no to being on my podcast. That's a useful piece of information. It's data.
Or I'm
It's
having
data.
to push that too hard. Maybe that's not the thing.
Or what's their reason for that? Can I get around it or can I accept it or can I change it and then move on?
I love that. There is definitely something that I see you and other women who are a wee bit of a step ahead in the journey saying.
Further down the road.
Which is like, this is the season of less fucks. This is the season of just caring less about other people's opinions. And I can feel that evolving within me more and more. Tell me what else is great about this season.
I think it is that it's like I've heard people say one of their beefcakes with menopause is having less energy. I'm so excited about having less energy.
Whoa.
It's so fantastic. Because I was trying to keep every plate spinning. I was saying yes to everything and trying to keep every plate spinning. And now I'm like, it is not viable. So the phrase that creativity comes from limitations, which I agree with. Have you seen most computer-based art? Most art where you just say to a computer, make something, is terrible, horrific. You can make good things with computers, but that's humans making it within limitations. Like the limitations produce good creativity. It's something to wrestle with. And so when I am wrestling with my energy, I no longer can just blithely say yes to every single thing that crosses my path, even when I want to say no. Am I saying no is easy? It's not. It's hard for me. I like people, I like things, but I'm trying to listen to the clues. If I have a real pause, and like it's less big-headed to say no to some things. It's like if I have to say yes to everything, it's like I'm the only person in the world that can do it. I don't think so.
Yeah.
So the fact that I have less energy means I get to choose how I spend it more intentionally.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that I'm having more fun getting dressed because I care less about what other people think I look like. It's almost like the male gaze is gone. And so that sense of being invisible could be confronting, but it's like I've transitioned really quickly from noticing whether men were noticing me and what do I care anyway, to I'm having so much fun getting dressed. I feel fantastic in these clothes.
Yeah.
Now, I am also a size bigger, and I am also okay with that because my orientation towards my body now is, what does it need from me? What do I need to give it? And what can it give me? Like in terms of strength, in terms of flexibility. I'm like, I wonder what my natural weight will be. Like if I am eating in a nourishing way because I want to nourish my body, if I'm intentionally enjoying what I eat, I know when I'm eating because I'm very sad or very, very low or bored or tired or scared or hungry. Like I know that has a different nature to it.
Yeah.
And the feeling is different. So the more I can align myself with, oh, okay. And I just think patience is I love that about the season, just having some perspective. Like I've been through hard things, I've survived them. This too shall pass.
Yeah.
I've been through good things.
Yeah.
That's also going to pass. Like this joy, enjoy it. And it will pass and there'll be another joy.
Yeah.
This difficulty will pass and there will be another difficulty. So I like being long in the tooth in terms of being like, okay, this could take longer than I think. It's okay. It's
This
okay.
is a great ad. You're really selling it.
It's great. Honestly, getting older is great. And I'm just 100% fascinated with death right now because I feel like embracing my own mortality in an optimistic way teaches me how to live. And I am not new in saying that.
Yeah.
But the more I discover about this birth, death, resurrection process of this is a season, it's dead, a new season arrives.
Yeah.
This is a stage, it dies, a new stage arrives. This is, even when good things die, allowing them to let go and then allowing the weeds and then the flowers that are the weeds and then all the good things to sprout up. I like thinking about the fact that I've got, hopefully, 30-something years left, like 30 good years left. And then I'm 85. And even then I'm not dead, right? But 30 years isn't that I'm over the halfway mark. So how do I spend those? Am I going to spend it doing shitty stuff I don't care about that brings me no joy and brings nobody around me joy, that makes me and other people suffer?
Yeah.
No. Not every day anyway, But so I like it.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's something that is amazing that happens to humans when they know that they've got some kind of life-limiting illness that actually improves their lives because they have something happen that's like, it's kind of 5 years or it's 10 years. And then you watch those people really live in that time and you think, wow, it is actually good for us to remember that we are mere mortals.
I know.
And that we, are given this day and need to embrace the beauty of it.
Yes, and I think it makes today matter
Yeah.
because there are not forever days.
Yeah.
Like how I show up to you, how I talk to the people in my life matters,
I love that I'm hearing there that emphasis on improving the quality of your life.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I think the quality of my life internally is better than it's ever been.
Yeah. Wow.
And I have compassion for aches when I ache, or compassion for the fact that this top eyelid sits on that lower eyelid, and if I put pencil there, it ends up on the top lid. I have compassion for this jowl that is not very pronounced but will become more pronounced. I have compassion for the hairs that really are fantastically, ferociously growing out of my chin. Like I don't they're not in existential crisis. They're not, what's wrong with me? Why have I got hairs growing out of my chin? I'm like, oh wow, these guys are tenacious.
Yeah.
And
They've got character.
like, yeah, they've got character. It's a yes, and it is also like the hilarity of losing your eyesight and getting more significant chin hairs and going, this seems, why will nobody tell me? Why is it not normal for people to say, hey, you want to get that one?
Yeah.
Like that little guy there.
Yeah. Or let me just.
Yeah. Let's do it. But do you know what I mean? Like I am more and more, I'm like, how I look is one of the least, like a friend of mine said, my weight is the least interesting thing about me. How I look is of this much value.
Yeah.
And who I am and how I am in the world is of this much value. Just for anybody listening, my hands got a lot bigger for the second one. Like who I am is significantly more important than how I look.
Yeah.
Ferociously more important in a way that pays dividends.
Yeah.
And I feel more whole and more well. So I like that about getting older. I feel more easily contented and satisfied. I'm still energized and ambitious for great experiences and fantastic flavors and quality relationships.
Yeah.
Am I
Love it.
going on too much?
No.
But it's also this idea of simplicity that the answer I seek isn't outside.
Yeah.
It's not in the future. It's
Yeah.
not up the top of that hill or the top of that ladder. Yeah. It's not at that promotion or that job or that holiday.
Yeah.
It's not there. It's here today, right now. It's within me.
I just love that in a podcast, the story and the message emerges in the middle of it. And you have to know what this feels like.
Yeah.
And you know what is emerging is this is like the ad for midlife.
I'm here for it.
Where are the steak
I'm here
knives?
for it.
It's that promotion of
Yes.
this is what's great about this time.
And it's so that women don't rue where they are now, but it's so they have something, hope in their hearts to look forward to. There's challenge inside of every season. I had my turn being a teenager, being a 20-year-old, being footloose and fancy-free, being a mum of young children. I had my turn. I did it to the best of my ability. And then, yes to where you are now. Yeah. And there's stuff to look forward to.
Yeah.
I hope to be a grandparent. I can't wait for that, to take all of the stuff that I learnt as a mum and let go of all the other stuff that I tried and have discarded now, and to be there in a way that is useful and helpful for the next generation, and hopefully, my kids as well. Yeah, I'm like, this is a good season. And I'm looking for the goodness in this season that this season has to offer me. I'm not looking for the season to give me the goodness of my 30s or 40s. I'm looking for the goodness of 50s.
So nice.
Yeah.
So nice.
And there are 60-year-olds who I look at and I'm like, wow, look at you go.
Do you do that where you look ahead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I get to sit down with people in my podcast who are in their 60s and I'm like, you are having a wild time. You are loving this. We're all allowed to be yes-anding. Yes to where I am now. And wow, look what I've got to look forward to as well.
I observe that when it comes to relationships, there is a real need for people to be able to say yes and within their relationships, actually, that there is something that is really challenging about evolving as a person and changing and not being the same person that got married or partnered with that person. And being able to be in relationship with them while going through your own process. And I just see this getting really crunchy. Yeah. I imagine it's something you're really proud of, that you're married, you're in relationship with your children, you're in relationship with your family. You've been able to be who you are and grow and change and maintain the relationships with the people you love.
I don't know if proud's the word I'd use. I feel very grateful.
Yeah.
I feel really grateful that I held on during the times when I questioned my relationship, when I was bored with it, when it didn't seem very fulfilling, when I was unfulfilled with myself and therefore possibly projected it onto my relationship, when one of us was stagnating maybe or one of us was moving ahead. I feel so grateful to have held on. And I think that part of that is coming to terms with the fact that the dark and hard times don't last forever.
Mm.
And neither do the mountain peak times. Like, it's not always a birthday,
Mhm.
but it's also not always a funeral.
Yeah.
And it's not always a struggle, and it's not always a dream scenario. So to be able to be honest about the fact that I impact the relationship as much as
Mm.
the other person,
Mm.
that my input or lack of input has effect.
Mm.
I am deeply grateful that when I'm like, that's it, I've had enough of this, or whatever the scenario was, and said, we're going to counselling. My husband has always been up for that.
Mm.
Like, I respect that deeply. It's hard. It's hard, counselling, and it's hard for men, I think, really.
Mm.
And he has a level of staying power and commitment that I've lent on, if that makes sense. I'm a loyal person, but I am an adventure-seeking person. And I think knowing myself has made me safer than if I was unaware of the fact that I like adventures and I want new and joyous. And as we've matured, I like to go out. So I'll go out with my girlfriends, and he'll often stay home. And that's okay. There are phrases I've come across that have really helped, like Esther Perel's, most of us have 3 or 4 marriages in us and choose to do it with the same person.
Yeah.
I also, before I heard that, that makes
much
it make so much
Yeah.
sense. I'm allowed to change.
Yeah.
He's allowed to change. We're both allowed to change. That doesn't make either of us wrong or earlier versions of us wrong. It's just a very hopeful scenario. The fact that we change at different paces or rates makes it frustrating, but it's also okay. Like, if I'm all busy changing, I remember changing and going, okay, sunshine, when are you going to do some of this?
Yeah.
And actually getting therapy can produce crunch points for relationships. If somebody does a whole lot of internal work and the other person's just cruising along.
We end up outpacing each other and
Yep.
we move at different rates, and some people are glacial in that and change because of major events or because of different kind of inputs. And I hear a lot about, the challenges of knowing where you're at and being able to be reflective about where your relationship is at and keep on finding your way back to one another. But I think it is a massive achievement in this stage of life that people realize, as time goes on, that it often does take quite a bit of work.
I think anything valuable takes quite a bit of
Yeah.
work. Like, having a car takes quite a bit of work. It actually requires regular fueling, regular maintenance, regular cleaning. And then it's really amazing. It's like, I've got a great relationship with my car.
Yeah.
It could be cleaned. But I have to power that puppy up. Like, I have to, and I don't think relationships are necessarily like cars, but anything valuable takes effort.
Yeah.
From both sides. I remember talking to somebody who was on his 3rd and very happy marriage. He had a marriage, married very young, possibly looks back and thinks that was a very immature decision that they made, got married. The marriage didn't end up lasting. Then they were partnered for a long time, and that eventually went south. And then they found their wife and they got married. And they're still married, and they ended up having their children. And they talked about the cost of that emotionally, mentally, physically, and financially. The cost of starting again 3 times.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying you shouldn't get out of a bad relationship or a damaging, unhealthy relationship. I've seen friends who have done that and supported them out of really unhealthy relationships. And that has been an important step. It is that the acknowledgement for me that, because I'm not in an unhealthy relationship, it's the acknowledgement that if I get bored and ditch, that is going to cause me to pay physically, emotionally, mentally, and financially. There is, and you know what? I'm going to take myself to the next relationship.
Yeah.
I'm going to take all of the good and bad of me into the next one. So, I better be prepared to see myself there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, okay, what's, like, in terms of energy expenditure, do I work on work on inputting into this relationship and making it more fulfilling and more well and more whole, myself and the other person included? Or do I put my energy into let's burn it down and start again? Like I think those are sensible questions to ask ourselves.
Yeah.
And you're allowed to answer whichever way you like.
I totally agree.
You can answer. But I think it's worth thinking about. And yeah, I'm really grateful I held on. And
knowing that you follow yourself wherever you go, that's a very important thing to realize.
Yeah. And also, you know, it's a risk to turn towards somebody. Again, like we've been married 26 years. And I remember just a few years ago having, just got to a point where a part of me was living, this little part was quite independent. I was like, no, I've got myself. And actually turning towards my significant other and saying, with vulnerability, have you got me? This is me, have you got me? And asking a question that, might have opened me up to rejection or opened me up to, loss.
There's risk.
And pain, but in turning towards and being vulnerable and then asking the question, I'm like, wow, you're my
look
really
at that.
Lovely. Yeah, it was really lovely.
So good. She says, looking at her wedding rings. Beautiful. Beautiful.
One of which I fit, but I can't wear them both together anymore.
Happens to the best of us.
I love it, sister.
Well, I'm back to thinking about the beginning of our conversation. I mentioned to you, I've got this friend who looks at you and thinks, this is the first time I have seen an example of a woman that I would like to become. What are your top things you would say to women in their early 40s about what they should hold on to in navigating these years?
Hold on to your interests. Like, hold on to, I think, with a sense of humour, your sense of self. I think it's acknowledging that you, in your early 40s, if you've got a career and you're in a community, which may involve raising a family, you will be forgetting yourself a lot. You will be sacrificing a lot. And that is a valuable and worthwhile sacrifice. Like that is amazing. Can you hold on to, with humour and curiosity, a playful sense of yourself? So I would say, look for opportunities to play. Look for opportunities to, just show up for and as and with yourself. And I think that is so additive for everybody around you. Just talk to a mummy who's going away for 2 weeks. She's leaving her 7 and 12-year-old for 2 weeks. First time, longest time. Like they've been away, but not for 2 weeks. And I said, you're giving your children a gift because you'll come back more whole and more resourced than when you left. Yeah. And you've set them up with trusted family. They're going to be okay. They're allowed to miss you. So the sense that we don't have to do everything right, like lower our expectations. I think people are saying that to women all the time. Lower your expectations of yourself and others. Set the bar a little lower. Not so that carnage reigns, but so that everyone can breathe. Like I think breathing in and breathing out, like breathe through it. In your 40s, just do lots of deep breathing and remember to create things to look forward to. So I think that this is another piece of advice. If you spend time with somebody and when they go, you feel fuller, notice that and spend more time with them. If you spend time with people and at the end of it, you feel like you need to lie down, like you really need some TLC, reduce the amount of time you spend potentially with those people, or just really, honor what you know about yourself. Like your body is wise. Yeah. So listen to it. Yeah. Like it's a really great guide. And I think as women, when we've been taught to, and we have estrogen flowing through our systems, and we've been taught to override our own body's needs, understandably, we might just need to keep going. We've been taught to give up our own opinions for the greater harmony of whatever or the household. So a lot of women fall into that category. just turn with curiosity and kindness back towards your body and be like,
Mm.
what are you saying? Because it's such a wise guide.
Yeah.
And then we don't even have to think, I don't like this person or I like this. We can be like, oh, yeah,
Mm.
okay, that used a lot of energy. So
Mm.
I'm not going to set myself, I call it setting myself up for success.
Mm.
And that's not so much of a capitalist necessarily form of success. But if I've got spare energy, maybe I want to spend it there. But
Yeah.
if I don't,
Yeah.
just acknowledge I don't have the energy.
Perhaps
I can't
not.
do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it. So,
Mm.
yeah.
I think what's amazing about what you're saying today for women navigating their 40s is follow yourself.
Follow yourself. We've got so much goodness and wisdom inside ourselves. Trust yourself, and be open to learning. Like,
Mm.
I love people speaking wisdom into my life. My daughter just gave me a piece of feedback
Mhm.
that was challenging last night, but I asked her for it, and I'm like, great to know. I want to know how I show up in the world that is costly to other people
Mm.
and also life-giving.
Yeah.
Because I want to increase the life-giving,
Yeah.
decrease the other. And that's okay. I don't even want to get it perfect, but I want to move in the gentle direction of this is a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that, there have been articles that have written up about who you have become over this period of time and, the mission you've been on around the conversations you've brought to women in New Zealand. But it's a little bit of an opportunity for me to say thank you and to really encourage you in how you're shaping how women think of themselves and their capacity to follow themselves in midlife.
I believe in us.
Yeah.
We're wonderful, aren't we?
So
We're
cool.
so wonderful.
So
We've got
cool.
so much potential and love to give. Yeah, I think we're fantastic. So I'm very happy to be part of the conversation and thank you for that kindness, Charlotte. I will receive it with thanks and gratitude.
Thanks for spending this time with me. I hope today's episode has helped you understand yourself a little better and given you something practical to take into life this week. If you found it helpful, I'd love you to follow the podcast, leave a review, or share this episode with someone who might need it too. It really is the best way for more people to find these conversations. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time on Mind You.